Yeah. All right, guys. Welcome back to the Refined Podcast for episode 2. I am your host, Sydney Adams.
And I am your host, Jason King. Welcome back, guys. Sorry for the wait.
Well, we're back. We're finally back for
Back.
our first. Our other one was an introduction. So this is basically our first real.
Yeah, we're excited. It's taken a lot for us to get here. So,
Yeah, last week we had quite the week. We ended up in Alabama due to a mandatory evacuation because of the hurricane.
yep.
So we woke up on Monday, very normal Monday morning, ended up realizing that we needed to pretty much pack up and leave and get the heck out of here because we didn't know what the storms were going to be like. And we did a good old 12-hour car ride to Alabama.
Good old Tuscaloosa T-Town.
Yeah.
T-Town's cool.
We brought our mics, so we were like, okay, well, we'll record our podcast episode number 2 while we're there. And then it ended up just sounding like crap, honestly, in a hotel room because we had
Tested.
housekeeping. Yeah, to
Yeah,
me,
we did
it
have
sounded bad to me at least.
interruptions and all that. But yeah, we're back. We obviously, it's the technology with this podcast has been absolutely horrible for us to figure out, but
It's just foreign to us.
yeah, we're rolling with the punches, and we think we got it down.
Yeah,
So
we sure do.
we obviously don't want to put out anything that, is horrible. So it's taken us a little bit to get things going.
Yes.
So yeah, I do want to, speaking on the evacuation, I just want to say, you know, do your part. Prayers and thoughts go down to the families and the ones affected down in Fort Myers, but support, donate, do whatever you can do to help those people out.
Absolutely.
So, tell me something, Sid.
All right. The only thing that's really been on my mind all week is the fact that I'm going to be an aunt in the next couple days.
That is right.
It's all I've really been talking about. I'm so excited. I only have one sister, and this is going to be my first niece or nephew, but it is a nephew, a little Ty, and I am just counting down the seconds.
Well, Ty, that's awesome. I mean, I'm just as excited as you are. Your sister Shelby and Josh, both amazing people. So the kid is definitely going to be spoiled and very blessed and loved.
So loved. It was cool since we were able to go back to where I lived prior to Tampa. I was able to see you with kids for the first time. And you're just, I always knew that you're a big teddy bear. You're like definitely just the biggest sweetheart in the world. But it was cool seeing, you're like, oh, yeah. But seeing you with kids was something I hadn't seen before. And I thought it was really special.
Yeah, I love kids. Kids can be a little awkward at times, but no, absolutely love kids. Kids love me, so.
Just a big teddy bear. But
Big
all right,
teddy
you
bear.
tell me something.
I don't really have much for you. I guess what I could bring up is just kind of what I've been practicing here the last week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. I've just been focusing more on gratitude. I've
Okay.
always been very grateful for everything I have, but I've just kind of been trying to focus a little more on waking up each day and just, focusing on gratitude a little more.
Okay. How are you doing that? Like, what are you doing to practice gratitude?
Something very simple actually. Just waking up in the morning and instead of looking at things like, oh, I have to go do this, it's more of I get to go do this. So just
Yeah.
being grateful that, I'm able to go work out. I'm able to work and do what I do, make a living and meet people, talk to people all the time. So just practicing gratitude and just flipping my mindset from I have to more to I get to.
Yeah. No, that's super
It's
good.
been
I think we all need to work on that a little bit.
yeah, give it a try. I love doing, little things like that every so often. It helps me out mentally and
Yeah.
it really what we're talking about today, it kind of transitions right into that pretty well. So
Yeah.
you want to go ahead and tell them what we got for them today? What they've been waiting
Absolutely.
on?
So with this last week of being out of town and not really expecting to be out of town and kind of being thrown off of our routine a little bit. We were in a hotel room, didn't have a kitchen,
Yep.
and normally during the week we're very on our game when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to structure and schedules. So it definitely threw me off, threw me for a loop, threw me off my game a little bit. And I think today we're going to go over all things structure, routine, schedules, how to be disciplined and
All
keep
that.
motivation, just all of the things that come down to having a set routine in your life.
Yeah. Because it's so beneficial. And we'll be able to kind of, touch on the benefits of it. Getting started, how to get started, and just the success and everything we've seen. How much, not even success, but just how much easier the days are
Yeah.
having a routine, being able to follow at least some sort of routine. So,
Yeah, well, we might not have everything figured out, but I think that we've both done a lot of trial and error to figure out
absolutely.
that
Yeah.
I think we do both have a lot to touch on this
Yeah. Yeah.
subject.
And that's the last thing I ever want to do is make it come across like I've got everything figured out.
Right.
I sure as hell don't. I'll be the first to say that. So, yeah, but just kind of, touching on what's worked for us,
Right.
um, what helps us from day to day to, be productive and get everything we need to do, done every
Yeah,
day. So,
absolutely.
to start off with, how about, would you mind kind of touching on what your routine looks like from day to day?
Yeah, so I am definitely the biggest creature of habit ever. I'm
Yeah.
so routine. I thrive off of consistency, and my morning and my nighttime routine pretty much stays the same every single day, 7 days a week. And that really comes. My nighttime is definitely more strict than my morning routine when it comes to I make sure that I have the dishes done, I have the kitchen clean, laundry done, and I have a very set plan for the next day. I think that sitting down and going over like what my priorities are for the next day and like, okay, here are my non-negotiables that I need to get done tomorrow.
Yep.
And if I finish all of those, and here are some things that I also need to get done. And that
Yeah.
might be like, a week overview of what I need to get done for the week. But those are also, once I've finished my priority hit list, then I go to those. So that's kind of what I focus on at night. I try and read at
Yeah.
night. I've gotten a lot better about it lately. Trying to
I
stay
know.
off my phone right before bed and reading a little bit more. And then in the morning, I like to start my day off with some kind of exercise and movement, whether that's a walk or a workout, and then come back and have breakfast and kind of just get ready for the day. But I try and knock that out first thing in the morning before I hit the ground running for the day.
Nice.
Yeah, what's your routine looking like?
That's a packed
I
routine.
know. I could
Packed.
even go more in depth, and you know
Right?
it. It's
Yeah.
literally the exact same every single morning and
Very
night.
detailed, but it's helped you tremendously. So,
It has, yeah.
my routine doesn't look anything like that. The morning does, absolutely. But so just I'll touch on that. So 6 a.m. I'm awake, and then I hate being rushed or moving too fast in the morning. So it takes me about an hour to get to the gym. But I'm at the gym by 7, and then workout complete by, about 8:30, back home by 9, eating breakfast, and then I've got my first work call around 9:30.
Yeah.
So I used to be very detailed and I had, an hour set routine, kind of just like you, but it's just with my line of work. I could get a phone call at 10 a.m. and for the next 3 hours, I'm working
Tied
on
up.
yeah, I'm tied up with working on with what that phone call was about.
Yeah.
So it's very hard for me to have, a very set schedule because it's extremely hard for me to follow that. And then with all the interruptions. But what I want to start doing, like you do, I want to start writing kind of my days out or things that I absolutely have to get done the next day.
Yeah.
So I think as far as, after 9:30, after that first call, what I could start doing is, have things written down that I want to get done. It just helps you remember and
Oh,
not forget certain things.
absolutely.
So,
I know because there's a lot of things that you'll push off to the next day if they're not written down, but there's
yeah,
something satisfying about crossing things off a to-do list.
exactly.
I'm like far more productive when
Get
I
it
have a
done.
list.
I'm a check mark kind of
Absolutely.
person. I'm like, check, check.
Yep. I'm a highlight. Done.
That's
Done.
funny. So
Yeah.
have you ever or have you always been pretty good with your routine, kind of going back to your childhood.
Okay.
Were you brought up with structure and kind of a routine, or how'd
I
that
w
look?
Yeah, yeah, actually I was, and I was very, very fortunate that I am fortunate that I grew up with very involved parents in the sense that they were pretty I looked at it as strict growing up, I guess I would say, when it
Yeah.
comes to okay, here's your bedtime at a young age, 8 o'clock bedtime for a long time. When I got a little bit older, 8:30 bedtime, and it was the exact same nighttime routine, from having dinner as a family to cleaning up for dinner, watching a show, having a snack, and then getting ready for bed. The exact same order every night.
Yeah.
And then in the morning, pretty similar. It was very structured, same every single day, and got on the bus at the exact same time. I knew when to be ready for the bus, and my parents would make my lunch, and very, very routine. And I think that is why I thrive so much off of consistency
Yep.
because I have always had that. So, in the last couple, so I moved out of school. I know I'm giving you a long answer, but I moved out for college, and so I moved out of my parents' house, and I think I lost some of that structure. I was no longer playing sports. I was living on my own, and I realized that it really threw me for a loop not being in a routine structure schedule. And so in the last couple years, I've really mastered what works best for me and done some trial and error, figured out what helps me mentally. Uh,
Gotcha.
and so, yes and no, but for the most part,
Well,
overall, yeah,
it seems like it kind of followed you kind of from your childhood in a way.
yeah,
You were, introduced to it at a very young age. So I know you said you fell off for a little bit, but it probably was easy to pick it right back up because it was
absolutely.
something you were used to.
Yeah. What
Uh,
did yours look like growing up?
so I was introduced to it at a young age as well. Didn't realize it then, but so not to get too deep for the podcast, obviously, but I was raised by a single mother
Yeah.
and I have a younger brother. So what that looked like, her being the only provider for the household, she had to work two or three jobs at once. So that left me, having to mature a little earlier than, most 10-year-olds. And I had to have this, set routine to look after my brother.
Yep.
So that was, little things like, taking him to the bus stop or um, helping him make breakfast or helping getting him ready, picking him up from the bus stop, getting him a snack, just little things like that. But it introduced routine because doing these things were drilled into my head and I knew I had to do them the same time every single day.
Mhm.
So that kind of, went on growing up and then got to college, played college sports, so always had routine there. And then
Right.
now it's just kind of like second nature to me. Um, I thrive off of a routine. I do so
Absolutely.
much better, and I've realized when I'm off of it, it's almost like my whole world is upside down. I
Mm.
just don't feel like myself. So definitely having a routine, it's helped me a ton. I've had one kind of my whole life, so
Yeah.
yeah,
In a different way, and that's what's I mean, we both had very different upbringings, but in one way or another, we had something that showed us how important it is to have some kind of structure
absolutely.
that we stick to.
And I think as you get older, realizing the importance of it and how much better off you are with a routine,
Yeah,
that's what keeps me on one, basically. I
absolutely.
just I just like the pros and cons of a routine, they're kind of next to none. It just like it doesn't even compare.
Yeah.
So when I'm off of it, like I said, I don't feel like myself. So I've always wanted to stay on one.
Yeah, I think that that's kind of I've been very extreme about it for quite some time and
Should I tell them?
yeah, go for it.
So if you're watching, you can see this glass. I'm drinking coffee. I put
At 5
cinnamon
p.m.
at 5 p.m. Yeah, I put cinnamon in it, and I learned that cinnamon does not dissolve. It just stays on the top. So it's pretty gross looking, but just to let you guys know. All right, sorry.
We're gonna spill that all over the place.
We got it.
Yeah, no, I've noticed that lost my train of thought. No, I lost my train of thought. I don't even know what I was saying.
You've noticed that being on a routine, it's the pros and cons of it.
Yeah, so I would say that I've kind of been extreme about it in the last couple years, and I'm still learning a little bit of balance, but I like being in a routine so much that I really, really struggle when I'm off of it.
Yep.
And so finding that balance of where I still can live a little bit and I can still go on vacation and spend time with my boyfriend or my family or whatever it might be, and have a social life, but still be in a routine. And I think that's where a lot of people struggle, is where if they fall off of that routine a little bit, it's hard for them to get back into it, or they feel like they're failing. And so that's something that, especially in the last couple months,
Mm-hmm.
and it is a work in progress for
Yeah.
me. You're great at it, and you have found a really great balance. But that's something that I'm gonna continue to be intentional with.
Yeah. And I want you to touch on kind of what you just went through with the surgery. But before you do, I want to say, just to kind of piggyback off of what you just said, missing that workout versus missing that family dinner, you're not going to look back and remember what workout you missed,
Right?
but you're dang sure going to remember what family dinner you missed
Yeah.
or what function you missed. Or so, I mean, when it comes down to things like that, I understand that people get so caught up and so drilled into, what they're chasing or what they want to do. But at the end of the day, spend time with those loved ones and, do other things outside of that.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to mention that
No,
because
definitely.
I truly feel like people do that. They'll, miss a family function just because, the eating isn't right for them or something like that.
Yeah,
So we're all guilty of it. But
we are.
yeah, touch on, so you kind of went through, a bit of a challenge recently with your routine with the surgery. So how was that, and how does it feel being able to kind of stick to some sort of a routine within that time?
Yeah.
And then now that you're almost clear to get back to your full blown routine with workouts and eating and all that.
Yeah. So if you follow me on other social media, then you might have a little bit of idea. But since there are probably a lot of people who don't know, I had an abdominal surgery that was pretty serious. And so it put me in a state of not really being able to do anything.
Yeah.
And so I went from being very active, constantly on my feet, to not even being able to carry my own trash bins or to even pick up a pan out of my cabinet
Use the
and
air
or
fryer,
use the air fryer. I had to
toaster.
ask someone to, yeah, I had to ask my sweet caregiver over here to help me with literally everything. And I could have easily said, all right, I'll pick back up with everything in 6 weeks or in 8 weeks or whatever it might
Mm-hmm.
be. I could have done away with my diet and said I'll deal with it when I can work out, because if I'm not completely in this routine, then there's no point in
Right.
being halfway in it. But instead, I made sure, for the sake of my mental health, made sure to still have a morning routine. And I did this right after surgery. I was like,
Yep.
still do this as much as I can the way that I was doing it, because a morning routine, a nighttime routine, having my eating on point, even if I can't work out, I still can control those things. And that's helped me a lot. And being closer to the time where I'm finally going to be able to jump back into working out slowly, I think that it's made me appreciate movement in a whole different light. I've never gone through this.
Yep.
I've never had 6 weeks. I've literally never even taken probably 4 weeks off from any kind of exercise. So taking 6 weeks off completely has made me realize how much movement really benefits my mental health and my stress levels, and just it helps me show up into other spots of other parts of my life as my
Right.
best self, because I'm able to do those things. So I'm more excited than ever.
Yeah. So that kind of leads me into my next question for you. Do you think that taking a break from your routine or your day-to-day, schedule, do you think taking a break from that is bad, or is there some good to it?
There, of course, there's some good to it, and I think that you need to take vacations and you need to take
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's not a vacation, and maybe it's because life happens and something will throw you off of your
Yeah.
schedule. There's no way that you're going to be on your game 365 days a year. It's just not possible. And it's going to be sickness, or it's going to be a family member that's sick, or it's going to be travel, or something with work. Something's going to go on and it's going to throw
Right.
you off. I think that it's important to control what you can and have some kind of structure. I don't think that you should just do, if you can't do everything, you should just do away with all of it.
Yep.
But I don't think it's a bad thing at all to fall off a little bit. What about you?
No, I'm right there with you. I think a break every once in a while is truly needed. It brings the excitement back to it, and it's refreshing in a way. So for me, I can give an example. Last week, we were up in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of threw me for a whole, toll in a way, but I was perfectly okay with it. I personally didn't want to come back so soon, but we were back. But yeah, I mean, I was fine with it, and it's because that I over the years I've began to understand that a break from my routine and my, day-to-day activity, it's refreshing for me. So once we got back, Monday, it was exciting to get back to the grind, get back to the workouts, all of that stuff. So I truly feel like that breaks and everything from take a vacation. Take a week vacation and enjoy yourself, and honestly, yeah. And
I think that when people are on their game and they can consistently find something that works for them, find a lifestyle that's sustainable, you realize how enjoyable it is to be on that. And
mhm.
so it's easier to take a break and jump back into it because you miss it in a sense.
Yeah.
And there are some people that I think they fly by the seat of their pants and they don't have that. Where for us, we've done it for a while, so it seems like there's just no other way. I mean, I
Mhm.
can't even imagine waking up and being like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go with the flow today, and maybe I'll go to the gym, and maybe I won't, and maybe I'll just." I mean,
Exactly.
it's just what we do now, and
Yeah.
it didn't come easy. It didn't come naturally to
Yeah.
us.
No, yeah, it's a part of your lifestyle. It becomes a part of your lifestyle. And it's not going to be easy at all. I feel like that's why people get so scared to have any kind of routine in their life because they think, oh, it's going to be way too hard. Well, no crap. You're, changing
Yeah,
your life for the better in a way.
right.
It's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. But sticking it out for a certain amount of time, my advice would be, give it 30 days.
Yeah.
Um, Stick to it, stay committed to it, stay disciplined with it. And at the end of those 30 days, I can promise you, you'll feel a lot better and it'll just be kind of, smooth sailing from there. But yeah, people they just think it's going to be too hard, and I mean, anything worth having isn't going to come easy. So,
Well, and I mean, the harsh reality of it is that you have two different options, and you can be miserable with the way you feel, and
yep.
you can be depressed and anxious and have absolutely no direction that you're going in,
Mhm.
or you can choose, and that's hard, and that's hard to live like that. Or and you can struggle and say, oh, tomorrow I'll start, or next
Yep.
week I'll start. So there's that direction, and then there's also the direction of I'm going to choose the hard. That means I'm going to work on myself day in and day out until it's just the way I live,
Yep.
and choose your hard.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I live by this. Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I absolutely love that.
I do too. I
Um,
like that.
I heard that back, I want to say my freshman year of college, by one of our like strength coaches. Be comfortable or get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I love that. It's not going to be comfortable, completely transitioning to a new routine and waking up early and following, a diet plan or certain, way of eating.
Yeah,
It's going to be uncomfortable for a little bit, but get comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's where they say, a lot of your growth happens
absolutely.
is when you're very
Outside of your
uncomfortable.
comfort
Yeah,
zone.
outside of your comfort zone. So for me, I try to stay as uncomfortable as I can. Um, Try to always push myself, even though I'm pretty good. I would say I'm pretty good at my routine and staying structured within that. but I always try to push myself a little bit each day just with
Yeah.
things, okay, I want to add this to, my daily routine, or I want to add this to the workout, or, let me get one more rep or one more set in. It's just little things like that. So,
Well, and I said that for us, it seems like a lifestyle, but I don't think that a lot of people would look at you and realize that you've actually had quite the fitness journey and
yeah,
you have kind of seen both sides of it. You've been a beginner and I think we've both been beginners, but you know what I
right.
mean? You have been in a spot where you completely transformed your life. You want to go over that a little bit?
Yeah, kind of throwing me on the spot, but
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. For those who don't know, I used to weigh 275 pounds. So, pretty big boy. I'm now around 220. I range around, 218 to 220. But, it started out with a lot of bad eating. I wasn't really raised up in a home where nutrition was taken too seriously. So, in high school, I was told that if I gained a bunch of weight, I would start on varsity.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was just like absolutely the dream back then. So I did it. Gained a ton of weight, very unhealthy, and then ended up going off to college to play football, and I wanted to change my position. So that's where I've always been pretty, like mentally tough. If I
Yeah.
want something, I'm gonna get it. So I wanted to change my position. I wanted to go to linebacker. So I was told, well, we always have these exit meetings, and I was told that if I lost a bunch of weight, came back, and they thought that I looked good, like a linebacker basically, that I'd be moved. So
Okay.
that's kind of how that works. And I just really taught myself how to eat. But when I went home after that exit meeting, the first thing I did was I came up with a routine for those like 3 to 4 weeks that I was going to be home, and I stuck to it.
Mm,
I knew it was going to be draining. I knew it was going to be hard, but I knew that it would get me where I wanted to be.
yeah.
So, and kind of to touch on what that looked like, it worked for me. I'm not saying it's going to work for, you or anybody else, but I worked out twice a day and I ate the same exact meals at the same time every single day. And I didn't fall off of that once, and it
Wow.
worked. It worked. So I, just give it all to, the main thing was basically just staying disciplined to it.
Yeah.
I did exactly. I went home, sat down, came up with a game plan and a routine, I guess you could say, and just stayed disciplined to it.
Well, I think that you decided, actually, I know that you made a decision at that time in your life, even though I didn't know you at that time, but you clearly made a decision that there was nothing that was going to stand in your way. And
Yeah,
you had
no.
set your mind and you were like, It's not an option at that
Yeah.
point."
Yeah, that's kind of how I've always been.
Yeah.
Um and it just comes down to, I feel like nowadays just everyone's so damn soft. I
Yeah.
don't know, it's just even when you talk about people that can't stick to, certain routines, or they come up with all the excuses. I just don't have the time. No, you're soft. It's simple. You're soft. If there's truly something that you want, um, you're gonna do whatever it takes
Yeah.
to get it.
Or where are your priorities? And I think that
Yeah.
just like what I was just saying, like you likely didn't have all the financial freedom in the world at that age. You were young, you were in college.
Mhm.
It wasn't, a lot of people will say eating healthy is so expensive. You figure it out.
Yeah.
If it means something to you, you'll figure it out, and it's likely cheaper than going out to eat or whatever you're
Absolutely.
doing, or whatever the other option is.
I can walk out of the grocery store each week. You've actually seen this. I can buy a week's worth of groceries that are gonna fill you up for under $60.
And this man eats a lot.
And I eat a lot. I'm
Yeah.
always eating.
And you
So
do. I mean, you literally spend that much, and
yeah.
that's like what people probably spend on a couple meals.
Exactly. Well, and it just goes back to, how drilled in I am on the routine, because it's honestly the same meals
Yeah,
every day. And it's not that I'm trying to, lose weight, gain weight. I'm just, maintaining, fueling my body,
healthy.
and yeah, just healthy foods. And yeah, but yeah, I don't think it's too expensive. You're definitely spending more each week eating out than I spend on
Yeah.
groceries.
Well, and to touch on what your why is, I think that it's important to figure out what your driving force is in it.
Mm-hmm.
And for a long time, I think that a lot of females, and it sounds like you had even had this at one point, whether it was to have a football position or whatever it might be, was very physique driven.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and that can get unhealthy, and that can actually be really hard to sustain because eventually you're mentally going to burn out.
Yep.
And yeah, I would say that that was probably my driving force for majority of the beginning of my fitness journey, was like, how lean can I get? And
Yeah.
I'm not worried about my health, I'm worried about my look. And there's a very big difference between looking healthy or looking fit and in shape and being healthy.
Yeah. I went through that too. After
Yeah.
football, I got into CrossFit for a little bit.
Okay.
So
I've never done CrossFit. I really don't know hardly anything about CrossFit.
it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. It was weird. I'd like almost like black out during the workouts. I know that sounds very unsafe and probably weird, but no, like I would just kind of black out. I wouldn't really feel the pain. I mean,
Okay.
CrossFit is kind of painful, but wouldn't really like feel the workout in a way. I would just
Okay.
get through it, get done. So it was fun. But when I stopped doing that, so no, I would say when I was doing CrossFit, that's what it was for me. It was very, physique driven. Just wanted to look like an absolute tank.
Tank.
But after that, and I think this was just, recent, maybe a year ago, I started looking at fitness a lot different.
Okay.
So I changed my thought from wanting to look good to wanting to be healthy and wanting the longevity that came with that.
Yeah.
Because for me, like, it's way more important for me to be healthy down the road. In 20 years, I'm able to, play outside with my kids. My
Mm-hmm.
knees don't ache. You know, I still look good. So for me, it's all about the longevity and just wanting to be healthy now and down the road.
Yeah.
I hope I look like Tom Brady at 45.
Right. And I mean, there's no harm in wanting to look in shape and to look
Absolutely.
great. And that's going to come with it, because I always say that if you are focused on how you feel and you're focused on the health aspect of
Yep.
how can you fuel your body and how can you move your body to feel mentally, emotionally, and physically your best, realistically your physique will follow. Those two go
Absolutely.
very hand in hand, but one of them's going to be sustainable and the other one is all surface level.
Yeah. Go ahead and get you a dad bod. You'll feel great. I represent the dad bods. But no, absolutely. I think what's huge for anyone that's struggling with this physique mentality, they're just, physique driven. It's to take a step back and you can still look good and everything, but focus on, your moods, your
Mm-hmm.
mentality, how your body truly feels.
Yeah.
Um, Listen to your body too. If you need to take a day off, take a day off. That's just, it's more so, just listen to your body. Listen to your body.
Yeah, I think that
Mm.
really getting, not not to get too deep either, but I struggled a lot, and we've talked about this countless times about how I struggled with depression and anxiety very badly at different times in my life. But when I struggled the most was the year that I had very little structure and that I
Yep.
had very little routines and I wasn't fueling my body correctly. And it was the year that I moved out of the house and I hadn't really found my fitness journey. And so I was a beginner at that
Yeah.
point. And I would go as far as saying learning to have that discipline and pushing through that uncomfortable phase to get to that point. I might go as far as saying that's what cured my depression and my anxiety. Of course, I
Absolutely.
still struggle with it here and there, but nothing compared. I mean, I'm a whole new person.
Yeah.
And there are some people out here that they're struggling with things like that. Maybe it's not depression, maybe it's not anxiety necessarily, but they're struggling mentally, and it likely is because they don't have that direction and that structure.
Yeah. That's why I say, if you're going through anxiety or any type of depression, I can guarantee you, structure and having a routine is going to help you. You know, it's tough. I get that it's dark at times, but do it for yourself.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't mean any harm by this, but what do you have to lose?
Yeah. Oh,
I mean, a
absolutely.
routine isn't going to make you feel even worse than what you already do. So it's
Right.
almost like, give it a shot. Give it 30 days. Sit down, write out a routine, write out what, you think will work for you, and just stay committed to it. Give it
Yeah.
30 days, and I promise you, at the end of that, after that, it's just going to be smooth sailing, but you're going to feel a lot better.
Well, and I can't promise that it's going to cure everything for everyone. And I
Yeah,
won't say that being in shape and having a great exercise regimen and workout regimen is going to solve everyone's problems in
right.
their life. I know that that's just
Yeah,
not realistic. But I will go as far as saying that showing up for yourself makes a big difference.
absolutely.
And there's a lot of different ways to show up for yourself.
Yeah. And yeah, all of this, I'm speaking from experience
Right.
because I can say I even think now I still go through some, anxiety. But having that routine, it helps me kind of, I guess, just work with it in a way, make it a
Okay.
little bit better. Just knowing that I have structure to my life. Knowing
Yeah.
that I'm not, pulled in a thousand different directions, not knowing what's going on. I'm very organized, and that just happens to come with, having a routine and everything like that. So,
Yeah.
you
Can
know,
you touch on what you do to manage that? Like if you are struggling, even if it's just stress, even if it's not necessarily like really bad anxiety that day, like what are some different habits that you have formed to kind of work with that?
I would say the biggest one is it took me a long time, but I've really grounded my thoughts and knowing that I can only control what I can control.
Mm,
And doing that, it's a lot easier to say than actually do
yeah.
because it's stressful. There's a lot of things at our age and in this life that we all deal with. And it's so hard for us to, not get stressed out and not feel like everything is on us. But when you take a step back and you just kind of look at the big picture and you really focus on controlling the things that you can only control, it just makes everything a lot smoother. Like everything else is going to fall right into place.
Right.
So I would say that's the biggest thing with me. I'm a pretty laid back guy, and I'm not saying like just don't care about things at all,
Right.
but I would say the biggest thing I do is it's more so it's just all mental for me. It's all mental, but some practices I do, it's just within my morning routine.
Okay.
So waking up at 6, going to the gym, being there by 7, and then really having that time to just kind of focus on me.
Yeah.
Just focus on me. It's almost like I'm blocking out everything else in the world. Not many other people are awake. The work day hasn't started yet.
Yeah.
So I would
Not
say
being
those two.
bothered at
And
that time.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's my workouts now, they're more of like a therapy session. It's therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
So I would say, yeah. So, having those workouts be, kind of a therapy session and really just working on my mental and understanding that I can control what I can control are the two things that help me the most with the
Yeah. Those are good. I like
absolutely.
that.
What do you do?
I would say I love to go on walks. Walks are my therapy. I swear by them. I don't know. It's
Yeah, we went
fresh
on like a
air.
12-mile walk. Was it
I
12 or 15?
17? No.
17.
Well, just every time we talk about it, we add a
So
couple
add a
miles to it.
mile.
But really though, and yeah, I definitely introduced you to the morning walk club.
Absolutely.
But it does something. I found that that was something that worked for me, and having fresh air and get my flipping face out of the phone.
Yeah.
When I'm on walks, I just throw on a podcast and I like to listen to something or worship music even and go on a walk and just decompress some. I've also found that the very small things like not pressing snooze in
Yep.
the morning helps my stress tremendously. I have one of those alarm clocks that it wakes you up with a sunrise alarm rather than the iPhone alarm clock. I think the iPhone alarm clock is literally set to make you be in a bad mood the second you wake
Oh,
up.
pisses me off.
Right, you just
Pisses
wake
me
up
off.
ready to fight someone. Yeah, right. It'll wake you up, but you'll be
Yeah.
pissed off the first thing in the morning. So I think that one thing that I struggled with for a long time was pressing snooze. And so I would wake up mad at myself because I didn't wake up when I
Mhm.
told myself I was going to. And I woke up feeling like I was behind on my day because
Yep.
I did have everything planned out hour by hour, and now I was behind schedule. So that helps my stress. So just staying on that um, consistent morning schedule definitely helps my stress. And then positive self-talk throughout our days. You're
Mhm.
very good about this too, and that kind of goes hand in hand with controlling only what you can. But, reminding yourself that you're healthy and you're taking care of yourself, and you just
Yeah.
give those show up for yourself, and you find confidence in following through with what you plan to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, that practicing gratitude too
Yeah.
will help.
Yeah, and those go hand in hand with stress and anxiety for sure.
Absolutely. I want to kind of touch on what are some things that you think people could do if they are wanting to, get into a routine or,
Yeah.
kind of dive and take a look into this and
Yeah, so for obviously exercise and nutrition both are very important when it
mhm.
comes to a healthy lifestyle. If you feel like you are a beginner in both of those things, I would say take the time to do a little research and figure out what you should be doing, whether that's hiring a coach.
Absolutely.
There are a couple great coaches out there. No, I'm just kidding.
I know one. I
I'm just
know
kidding
one.
though. But really though, like finding someone who, whether you go to a dietitian or whether you go to a coach for fitness, finding someone who can give you some direction so you can take away the guesswork. And if
Yeah.
you're not going to get a coach, go to a workout class because
Mhm.
there's something so empowering about being in a room full of people. And I even love now, I love going to spin classes and I love going to yoga classes because you are surrounded by like-minded people. Not only can you meet people who are clearly showing up for themselves as well, because we
Yep.
can talk about that too, surrounding yourself with a support network, but also you don't have to feel like you are clueless because someone else
Absolutely.
is telling you exactly what to do. So that definitely can help you when it comes to exercise. When it comes to nutrition, I think that takes some trial and error, but keep it simple and just commit to Monday through Friday not eating out. Challenge yourself to that because you at least then know, even if it's not like quote unquote the healthiest options in the world, you know what you're putting in your body, and that
Exactly.
goes a long way.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, I like that for those beginners, I guarantee you any local gym in your area that you go to or you have a membership to, they're going to have those group classes.
For sure.
Um, hire a coach, or if you can't do that, if that's too expensive, possibly go on Instagram. There's a ton of people nowadays that post all of their workouts.
Yep.
So do that, or just research a little bit. There's tons of different ways. There's really no excuse to it, and that's one thing that is huge nowadays. All these damn excuses. Everybody just they're just feeling sorry for themselves and making up these excuses as to why they can't.
Yeah. Well, everyone's a beginner at some point, and I think that it's easy to be afraid of failure. And so if you are intimidated in the gym, because we all start somewhere,
Yeah.
and it is intimidating. Walking to a gym, I even now get a little nervous going into a gym I've never been in before just because it's something unknown and I'm used to the same equipment all the time. So I can definitely empathize for the people who are beginners for the very first time.
Right.
That when you walk into a gym, you feel like all eyes are on you, but no eyes are on you. I mean, no one's judging you, and we all started somewhere. So,
And you'd be surprised, but 98% of the people in a gym are very willing to help you.
oh, absolutely.
If you have any questions to somebody in a gym, they're going to be right there to, give you answers. So and I get that too. I get it can be, a little frightening in a way to start. But it's just doing it. If you want it bad enough, you're gonna do it. You're gonna figure it out. So
You can also find someone, I know, like a workout partner really makes a big difference, or
yeah.
just having whether it takes vocalizing what your goals are to the people around you, whether it's your mom or your dad or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, whatever it might be, or just your friend group, roommate, sh- tell them what is really important to you and give your friends and family enough credit that if you vocalize what you are passionate about and if you really want to make a change in your life and you feel like this is something that you want to do, um, have accountability partners.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, have a partner that's gonna keep you accountable, and that's, from your roommate. Best friend could be your partner.
Yeah.
Heck, your aunt, your cousin, whoever it may be. Just, if you have something that you want to do and you feel like you need somebody to hold you accountable, I'm sure you've got people in your life that will be happy to do so.
Yeah.
Um, and stay committed to it, do it for yourself. There's gonna be times where it's hard. It's not going to be easy. I'll tell you right now, it's not going to be easy.
No.
But like Sid said earlier, pick your heart. So
Yep.
it's going to be hard, but do it for yourself. Stay committed. I have kind of an example, just, finding people that held me accountable. I held
Okay.
them accountable as well. It was back in college. So
Okay.
and you can probably guess where this story's going, but
Right.
I had roommates. There was four of us, and it was our senior year of college. We were, let's have fun. We're not going to have this for much longer. So we were going out way too much, kind of drinking too much. And we all kind of looked at each other one day and we were like, hey, let's take a break from this. Let's take 45 days and let's all hold each other accountable. And we're not going to drink. We're not going to go out. We're just, going to focus on our schoolwork and, what we all need to get done.
Yeah.
So we actually went out and bought a whiteboard and we wrote everyone's name on it. And then each day for 45 days, we'd mark if, that person did well that day or if they failed. And at the end of the 45 days, we all did well. We held each other accountable. And
Wow.
it was more so it just felt good. You know how you always hear like you can do anything you put your mind to?
Yeah.
It just almost, I think for all of us, it just made us realize like, wow, we really said we were going to do something and we stuck to it. This might
Yeah.
not be like the perfect example,
No,
but
that is I think that's perfect, and that's pretty freaking impressive that a group of college guys were gonna do it
right,
together.
especially at that time. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just almost like, if you want it bad enough and you put your mind to it, no matter if it's just like a challenge or it's something you want to, like a short-term challenge, or it's something you want to do for, it's going to be life-changing for you. If you put your mind to it and you just absolutely execute day in and day out, something's going to give you eventually and it's going to turn out for you.
Well, and there have been some different challenges. I think that we all needed a little bit of structure when it came to COVID and quarantine. And so on TikTok, it was a big thing of like the 75-day hard or 75 soft. Everyone had like their different
Yeah.
versions of it, or even like 30-day hard. And people did their different versions. But there were a lot of people who showed their success stories with it. And I would get asked by clients or by friends or whoever, since I did have a social media platform, like, what do you think about this? And I would say, gosh, I'm all for it. If you're finding something that works for you, it doesn't matter who you are or what you're doing. If you're going from no structure to structure, you are going to see results.
Yep.
And it doesn't have to be something super extreme, but if you give yourself enough time that you can stick to something and see how much it helps you, whether it's mentally, physically, or both, there's definitely something to be said about giving it your best effort, though. You can't just do it for a couple days and say, that wasn't for me. It didn't work for me.
Yep.
Because as a coach, I see it all the time. I see a lot of my clients. I've had clients that have signed up to do 16 weeks of training, which is a very big commitment. And they come in and they're so excited and they're so ready. And I think we've all done this, but the motivation's there. And then when
Yep.
the motivation runs out and
Runs
it's
out.
not something cool, it's not something new, and it's not something exciting, you make up an excuse for yourself.
Exactly.
And then the discipline never is even built because you didn't give yourself an effort. You didn't put your best foot forward.
Yep.
You were like, all right, well, time to try the next challenge.
Exactly.
On Monday, though.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I'm actually doing, a challenge right now. It's the
Yeah.
Squatober thing. tree trunks. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's not easy. It's tough. It's squatting every day, Monday through Friday, and it's heavyweight. It's off of percentages and everything, but it's not easy. But I've committed to it, and there's no question in my mind that I'm gonna finish this.
Yeah.
Like that, I'm not gonna quit it. I'm gonna go the entire October. Heck, it's my birthday month. I'll probably even work out on my birthday, but
Yep.
and the next day. But it's just, yeah, staying committed to it and kind of, just doing it for yourself. Not having that, quit mentality. Don't even let that in your brain.
Yeah. Well, and so before my surgery, I had kind of had a couple different ruts where I was like, man, I feel like I'm just in a funk and I can't get into a good workout. And you were like, and I would say, I think I'm just going to walk. And you're like, no, go in there and give it your best effort. And
Yeah,
if it doesn't go as great as what you planned, then go walk. But at least go
exactly.
in there and have some kind of a plan. And it's the same thing for you. You had kind of felt like you were just going through the motions and you needed a plan to stick to, or at least you benefited from that, I think, a lot.
Yeah, so what was going on is I had just been doing the same workouts over and over, just week after week, and it just got extremely boring. Wasn't into it whatsoever. Um, so then the whole Squatober thing came out, and it started last Saturday, October 1st, whenever that was. But after that workout, I said to Sydney, I was like, "Oh my goodness, that was so much fun. I'm so excited for Monday."
You were like, "I'm
And
back," quote unquote,
yeah,
"I'm back."
I'm
Yeah.
back. I'm back. I was like, I'm back, or something like that. But she said, wow, she said, it seems like you do a lot better when you have structure to your workouts.
Mhm.
Have something I can follow, something written out. So, and I agree with her. It took, me doing that and her saying that to figure that out. So,
Oh, absolutely.
yep. Yeah, I mean, just structure in general.
Yeah. So what would you say, I think our last thing that we can really go over is, what would you say, since there are a lot of people that they're like, "Oh my gosh, where do I even begin?" And I think that that can seem really
Flashing rule.
daunting.
There we go.
Jay's shorts are riding up over here. He's feeling
Right?
like he's flashing the camera.
Man,
His squat tober, his legs are getting so
legs
big
are
he can't even
getting.
fit in his shorts anymore. I'm just kidding, but really, let's say that you are a beginner and it seems like it's daunting. What would be the best place to start?
I would say the first place to start would be, truly sitting down with yourself and just thinking. Thinking what an ideal day to day routine would look like for you. Within that, be reasonable with
Mm-hmm.
yourself. So, if you're a beginner, don't, try to say, oh, I'm going to wake up at 4 a.m. every single morning. I'm going to do this and that, blah, blah, blah. I mean, if you really feel like you can, by all means, give it a try, but,
Yeah.
be reasonable because you don't want to get a week into this thing and then quit.
Yeah.
So be very, realistic with yourself. And then sit down and, write what that would look like. Put it on a paper. And then from there, is the hard part. You got to apply it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do it. And then that's where, the discipline and just staying consistent comes in, but it'll be so worth it. And, I challenge anyone that doesn't have any sort of a routine at all, give this a shot.
Yeah.
Just try it and personally let me know how you feel after. Give it 30 days. And please, reach out to me. If you don't have me on Instagram, it's Jason, JAYSON_K. That felt weird. I never thought I'd like shout myself out. But yeah, but let me know. Just let me know. Reach out to me and let me know because that's huge. I'll be very happy for you. And yeah, what would you say? What's some advice you would give?
I would say, I think a lot of it comes down to stop making excuses for yourself,
Yeah.
and I'd go as far as saying it's so selfish to not prioritize your health, and it's going to overflow into every aspect of your life, and you're going to show up as a better partner, I know that
Yeah.
I'm a better girlfriend, I'm a better sister, and I'm a better employee or a better coach for that matter when I am on my game.
Yep.
And I think that a lot of people, moms and dads, they will show up as better parents if they take care of themselves for a longer period of time. So stop making excuses for yourself and stop standing in your own way, because at the end of the day, these small choices that you make every single day are going to be what changes your life. And
Absolutely.
and it might seem like it's not that deep, but it's that deep.
It's deep. Yeah.
And it's your life that you're talking about, and you can change everything about your mood and the way that your days go, one by
Yeah.
your mindset and also by implementing these plans and following through with them.
Yeah. And that's what I was gonna say. This is your life you're talking about.
Yeah.
So
One body, one life.
yeah, take a step back and truly reevaluate
Yeah.
what you've got going on, um, where you are and where you should be, or where you think you should be at, and just reevaluate that, and you know, we're all adults here,
Yeah.
so figure it out, and
Yeah, and I'll say that to end this off, that I 100% believe that you have it in you just as much as the next person. And we
yeah,
all could give a laundry list of reasons as to why we can't show up. But figure out a reason that you can show up and start doing it for yourself, and you can do it.
exactly. You
Yeah.
can do it. Get out there and do it,
Get moving.
and let us
Get
know
grooving.
how it feels,
Yeah.
the success behind it.
I think that we could talk on this for quite some time, though. We both, and I think that this could go in a couple different directions for future podcasts and how to have a workout regimen or how to stick to things. But
Yeah,
overall, I think we touched on a lot of points on and just why it's so important.
absolutely. Yeah, and our goal here, moving forward, is to post weekly. So, with that being said, we do have a couple episodes already mapped out and planned, but we would love to hear from y'all on what you guys would like to hear. So,
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
reach out to either one of us or comment on YouTube. And yeah, can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, thanks so much for listening, guys, and we will see you next time. And this was the Refine Podcast, and we love you. And yeah, we'll talk to y'all soon.
See you guys.